Comment where you're watching from today. You won't believe what happened at the prestigious Azure Bay Resort in Miami last weekend, where a routine afternoon by the pool turned into a heart-stopping rescue mission that would soon spark a social media war between two of the most influential figures in America. The day began like any other at the five-star resort, with the gentle lapping of waves against the infinity pool's edge and the soft murmur of exclusive guests enjoying their $1,000-a-night getaway. Jason Statham, the renowned action star, had chosen this particular Saturday to unwind between film shoots, seeking a rare moment of peace away from the cameras. Little did he know that his real-life heroic instincts would soon be put to the test. Just 3 cabanas away, tech billionaire Alexander Pierce's 7-year-old son, Leo, was enjoying what should have been a carefree afternoon under the watchful eye of the hotel's experienced lifeguard, Claire Sullivan. The young boy, known for his brilliant mind and curious nature, had inherited his father's love for innovation and exploration. However, that same curiosity would soon place him in a perilous situation that would capture the world's attention. The first sign that something was amiss came when Victoria Zhang, the hotel's sharp-eyed security chief, noticed an unusual ripple in the pool's monitoring system. The cameras overlooking the deep end had momentarily flickered, a split-second glitch that would later prove crucial in the investigation. Maya Patel, a lifestyle influencer with millions of followers, was just beginning her live stream by the pool, unknowingly about to capture footage that would soon go viral across every social media platform. The tension in the air shifted so suddenly, Maya would later tell her followers. One moment, everyone was relaxing in their own bubble of luxury, and the next, we heard this splash that somehow sounded different, wrong. Leo Pierce had been attempting to retrieve a small underwater drone he'd been testing, a prototype his father's company was developing for marine research. The device had malfunctioned, sinking to the pool's deepest section. Despite being an adequate swimmer for his age, the combination of depth and the pool's powerful filtration system created a dangerous situation that would test even an experienced swimmer's abilities. Claire Sullivan, the lifeguard, had been momentarily distracted by a medical emergency involving another guest, an elderly man experiencing heat exhaustion. This split-second division of attention would later spark heated debates about pool safety protocols at luxury resorts. But fate had placed Jason Statham, a former competitive diver with years of physical training, in exactly the right place at the right time. The action star's response was instantaneous. Without any concern for his designer watch or phone, Statham dove into the pool with the same precision he'd demonstrated countless times on movie sets. But this wasn't a carefully choreographed scene with safety divers and multiple takes. This was real life, with real stakes. It was like watching one of his movies, except you could feel the raw tension in the air, Thomas Anderson, another hotel guest, would later describe. There was no background music, no dramatic camera angles, just pure, instinctive action. Underwater, Statham quickly assessed the situation. Leo was struggling against the current created by the filtration system, his small frame being pulled toward the pool's floor. The actor's competitive diving experience proved invaluable as he maneuvered through the water, reaching the boy in seconds. With calculated movements, he freed Leo from the current's grip and propelled them both toward the surface. The rescue itself took less than 30 seconds, but to the gathered crowd, it felt like an eternity. When Statham emerged with Leo safely in his arms, the poolside erupted in relieved applause. Dr. Samantha Wilson, who happened to be a guest at the resort, immediately rushed forward to check on the boy. The child was scared but otherwise unharmed, Dr. Wilson would later confirm. Mr. Statham's quick action and proper rescue technique prevented what could have been a tragic outcome. Rafael Morales, the hotel manager, immediately implemented emergency protocols, clearing the area and ensuring the medical team had space to work. Victoria Zhang's security team began reviewing footage, trying to piece together exactly how the incident had occurred. Detective Jack Cooper arrived shortly after, though his investigation would later be overshadowed by the social media storm about to erupt. Alexander Pierce, who had been in a business meeting at the time, arrived at the pool deck just as his son was being checked by the medical team. The tech billionaire's usual composed demeanor cracked as he embraced Leo, his relief palpable to everyone present. The touching scene of father and son reuniting was captured by Maya's still-running livestream, adding a human element to what would soon become a viral sensation. But the story was far from over. As news of the rescue began spreading across social media platforms, an unexpected figure stepped into the narrative. Lawrence Sterling, a controversial political figure known for his polarizing statements, took to his social media account with a surprising claim. "Just heard about the incident at Azure Bay Resort. Proud to say my hotel's safety protocols and highly trained staff prevented what could have been a tragedy. This is why we need to focus on American excellence in hospitality." The claim was particularly audacious given that Sterling had no connection to the Azure Bay Resort or the rescue itself. His attempt to associate himself with the incident would soon backfire spectacularly, as both Statham's representatives and Alexander Pierce himself prepared to set the record straight. Maya Patel's livestream footage quickly became the most sought-after content in the developing story. Her followers skyrocketed as major news networks began reaching out for permission to use her video. Benjamin Carter, Sterling's social media manager, frantically tried to control the narrative, but the truth was already spreading faster than any planned PR strategy could contain. The incident would soon spark a larger conversation about pool safety, responsible parenting, and the role of social media in shaping public narratives. But for now, as the sun began to set over the Azure Bay Resort, the focus remained on the simple fact that quick thinking and decisive action had prevented a tragedy. Detective Cooper, after interviewing key witnesses and reviewing security footage, would later note in his report, "Mr. Statham's actions were nothing short of heroic. In situations like these, seconds matter, and his immediate response without concern for personal safety or public attention speaks to his character." As the evening drew to a close, Jason Statham quietly declined multiple interview requests, simply stating through his representative that he was grateful to have been in the right place at the right time. This humble response would stand in stark contrast to the social media storm about to erupt between Alexander Pierce and Lawrence Sterling. The security footage, later released with the family's permission, would show just how close the incident came to tragedy. Victoria Zhang's team analyzed the video frame by frame, noting that Statham's response time was less than 2 seconds from the moment Leo began struggling. This detail would become crucial in contradicting Sterling's claims about his non-existent hotel staff's involvement. Thomas Anderson, who had helped clear the pool area during the rescue, summed up the day's events perfectly. "You know, we all think we know what we do in a crisis, but watching someone actually do it, no hesitation, no playing to the cameras, just pure instinct and skill, that's something else entirely." As night fell over Miami, the Azure Bay Resort returned to its usual peaceful atmosphere, but the ripples from the day's events were just beginning to spread across the digital landscape. Alexander Pierce was about to respond to Sterling's claims, and his response would set off a chain reaction that would dominate social media for days to come. Within hours of Lawrence Sterling's audacious claim about the pool rescue, Alexander Pierce's response sent shockwaves through social media. The tech billionaire, typically known for his measured approach to public statements, unleashed a scathing rebuttal that would set the internet ablaze. "Mr. Sterling, I find it fascinating that you're taking credit for a rescue at a resort you don't own, involving staff you don't employ, in a situation you weren't present for," Pierce wrote, attaching Maya Patel's viral footage. "The only hero here is Jason Statham, who risked his own safety to save my son. Your attempt to capitalize on this incident for political gain is both desperate and disturbing." The post immediately went viral, with Pierce's followers amplifying his message across multiple platforms. Maya Patel's original livestream footage, now viewed over 10 million times, clearly showed the Azure Bay Resort's actual branding, definitively proving Sterling's claims false. Benjamin Carter, Sterling's social media manager, found himself in an impossible position as he watched the narrative spiral out of his control. Victoria Zhang, the hotel's security chief, had been methodically documenting the entire incident. Her team's comprehensive report, which included multiple camera angles of the rescue, was leaked to several news outlets, further undermining Sterling's version of events. The footage showed Jason Statham's decisive action in crystal-clear detail, with timestamps that would prove crucial in the unfolding drama. "The security footage speaks for itself," Zhang stated in an official release. Mr. Statham's response time was impeccable, and his technique was flawless. Any suggestion that this was anything other than his personal heroic intervention is simply false. Meanwhile, Dr. Samantha Wilson's medical report provided additional context that would further complicate Sterling's narrative. The speed of response in these situations is crucial, she explained to reporters. Had there been any delay in rescue, even waiting for staff to arrive, the outcome could have been very different. Mr. Statham's immediate action was the decisive factor. Lawrence Sterling, rather than backing down, doubled down on his claims. In a series of late-night posts, he insisted that his vision for American hospitality excellence had somehow influenced the safety standards at all luxury resorts. This bizarre expansion of his original claim only served to fuel the growing backlash. Rafael Morales, the Azure Bay Resort's manager, finally broke his professional silence with a carefully worded statement. While we take pride in our safety protocols, we must correct the record. The Azure Bay Resort has no association with Mr. Sterling or his organizations. We are grateful to Mr. Statham for his heroic intervention, and we respect his desire to avoid publicity over this incident. The story took another turn when Claire Sullivan, the pool's lifeguard, came forward to share her perspective. Her honest admission about being temporarily distracted by another medical emergency added a human element to the narrative that resonated with many. I've replayed that moment in my head 1,000 times, she said. Mr. Statham didn't hesitate, he just acted. That's what real heroes do. Thomas Anderson, who had witnessed the entire incident, started a trending hashtag #RealHeroesNoCredit, sharing his first-hand account of Statham's modesty in the rescue's aftermath. The hashtag quickly gained traction, with thousands sharing stories of unsung heroes and criticizing Sterling's attempt to hijack the narrative. Detective Jack Cooper's preliminary report was leaked to the press, containing interviews with multiple witnesses who consistently praised Statham's quick thinking and humility. The report also detailed how Leo Pierce's underwater drone had malfunctioned, leading to the dangerous situation, information that would soon become relevant in unexpected ways. Sterling's team attempted to shift the narrative by focusing on pool safety regulations, but this strategy backfired when journalists discovered that several of Sterling's own hotel properties had been cited for safety violations in the past year. Benjamin Carter spent hours trying to delete negative comments and control the damage, but the truth was spreading faster than they could contain it. Alexander Pierce, seeing an opportunity to turn the incident into something positive, announced the creation of a new foundation focused on water safety and emergency response training. Instead of arguing about who deserves credit, he posted, let's focus on preventing future incidents and ensuring that when emergencies do occur, people are prepared to act as decisively as Mr. Statham did. The tech billionaire's announcement included a substantial personal donation and a commitment to developing advanced pool safety technology, inspired by the malfunction of his son's underwater drone. This constructive response stood in stark contrast to Sterling's continuing attempts to insert himself into the story. Maya Patel's social media influence grew exponentially as she shared more details about the rescue. Her thoughtful coverage and refusal to sensationalize the event earned her praise from journalism experts and increased her credibility as a serious content creator. I never expected my poolside livestream to become a piece of documentary evidence, she reflected in a viral post. Jason Statham's continued silence throughout the social media storm only enhanced his reputation. His only public statement, delivered through his representative, remained simple and humble. The only thing that matters is that Leo is safe. Everything else is just noise. The incident began to attract attention from child safety advocates and tech industry analysts alike. The malfunction of the underwater drone raised questions about testing protocols for new technology, leading to discussions about responsible innovation and safety standards. Pierce's company responded by announcing a comprehensive review of their testing procedures. Sterling's social media manager, Benjamin Carter, found himself in an increasingly untenable position. Internal messages leaked to the press showed him advising against the initial false claim, warning that it would be easily disproven. His professional reputation took a hit, leading to speculation about his future with Sterling's organization. Dr. Wilson, who had treated Leo immediately after the rescue, became an unexpected voice of authority in the ongoing discussion. Her expertise in emergency response and child safety made her a valuable contributor to the broader conversation about pool safety and emergency preparedness. What we witnessed was a perfect example of why training and quick response matter more than publicity or credit, she observed in a widely shared interview. The Azure Bay Resort's handling of the situation became a case study in crisis management. Rafael Morales' team maintained professional dignity throughout the controversy, focusing on guest safety and privacy while quietly but firmly correcting misinformation. Their approach earned praise from public relations experts and helped maintain the resort's prestigious reputation. Victoria Zhang's security team continued to receive requests for the footage from news organizations worldwide. Their careful handling of the evidence, while respecting privacy concerns and legal requirements, demonstrated the importance of professional security protocols in modern hospitality management. As the second day of the controversy unfolded, Sterling's attempts to dominate the narrative increasingly fell flat. His social media engagement numbers dropped significantly, while posts featuring the actual rescue footage and Statham's quiet heroism continued to gain traction. The public's verdict was clear: authenticity and action spoke louder than empty claims and attempted credit grabbing. Leo Pierce, the young boy at the center of the story, remained sheltered from the social media storm by his father's protective measures. His recovery and return to normal activities became a symbol of the incident's positive outcome, despite the controversial aftermath. Alexander Pierce's posts about his son focused solely on gratitude and the importance of water safety, maintaining the high ground in the ongoing public discourse. The contrast between Sterling's persistent self-promotion and Statham's dignified silence created a compelling narrative about the nature of true heroism. As one viral post observed, "Real heroes don't need to tweet about their heroism." This sentiment would set the stage for the next phase of the controversy, as Sterling prepared to make one final attempt to turn the situation to his advantage, a decision that would prove to be his biggest mistake yet. Lawrence Sterling's final attempt to control the narrative would prove to be the catalyst that transformed a social media dispute into a full-blown public relations disaster. In what would later be described as a moment of spectacular misjudgment, Sterling decided to hold a press conference at one of his own hotels, complete with a staged pool rescue demonstration. The event, hastily organized by his increasingly desperate team, was designed to showcase what Sterling called proper rescue protocols. Benjamin Carter had strongly advised against this move, going so far as to submit his resignation letter the night before. His departure would later be seen as the first sign that Sterling's inner circle was crumbling. Maya Patel, who had been invited to cover the press conference, immediately noticed something off about the setup. The pool they chose for the demonstration was half the depth of the Azure Bay Resort pool, she noted in her live coverage. And the victim they used was clearly a trained swimmer, nothing like the situation with young Leo Pierce. As Sterling stood at the podium, wearing a designer's suit with a life preserver prop prominently displayed, he began what would become an infamous speech. What happened at Azure Bay Resort, or should I say, what could have happened, demonstrates why my approach to hotel safety is superior. Today, I'll show you how a proper rescue should be conducted, with trained professionals, not Hollywood actors playing hero. The demonstration that followed would be shared millions of times across social media platforms, but not for the reasons Sterling had hoped. His attempt to demonstrate a professional rescue went horrifically wrong when one of his own safety demonstrators slipped on the wet pool deck, creating a real emergency in the middle of the staged one. Victoria Zhang, who had been monitoring the press conference remotely, immediately recognized the irony. "It was like watching a parody," she later commented. Except it was real, and it perfectly illustrated the difference between prepared statements and actual emergency response. The incident at Sterling's press conference created a new wave of viral content, with side-by-side comparisons of Statham's smooth, efficient rescue and Sterling's chaotic demonstration flooding social media platforms. Dr. Samantha Wilson's professional analysis of both incidents became one of the most shared posts of the day. What we witnessed at Azure Bay was instinctive, professional action by someone with real training and experience, Dr. Wilson explained. What we saw at Sterling's press conference was a textbook example of how not to handle pool safety demonstrations, or public relations, for that matter. Alexander Pierce's response to the press conference debacle was surprisingly measured. Rather than mock Sterling's failed demonstration, he posted a thoughtful thread about the importance of proper safety training and the dangers of turning serious issues into publicity stunts. Some things, he wrote, are too important to be used as political props. The Azure Bay Resort's management team, led by Rafael Morales, used the opportunity to release their actual safety protocols and training procedures. The stark contrast between their professional documentation and Sterling's theatrical approach only served to further undermine his credibility. Jason Statham, maintaining his dignified silence, was photographed that same day quietly visiting a local children's swimming program, making no announcements and declining all interview requests. The photos, taken by a parent and shared without his knowledge, went viral, creating yet another devastating contrast with Sterling's publicity stunt. Detective Jack Cooper, who had been wrapping up his investigation of the original incident, found himself fielding questions about the safety violations at Sterling's demonstration. It's ironic, he noted in his final report, that in attempting to prove his superiority in safety protocols, Mr. Sterling actually violated several basic pool safety regulations. The press conference disaster had unexpected consequences for Sterling's business interests. Several luxury hotel chains that had been in partnership talks with his organization quietly withdrew, citing concerns about brand association. The hashtag Sterling Safety began trending, but not in the way his team had hoped. Claire Sullivan, the Azure Bay Resort lifeguard, was invited to appear on several morning shows to discuss proper pool safety protocols. Her honest, professional approach and genuine concern for water safety provided a stark contrast to Sterling's theatrical display. Safety isn't about showing off, she stated. It's about being prepared and responding appropriately when seconds count. Thomas Anderson, who had witnessed both the original rescue and watched the press conference online, started a new viral thread comparing the two events. His detailed breakdown of the differences between real emergency response and staged publicity became a trending topic, further damaging Sterling's credibility. Leo Pierce, now recovered from his ordeal, returned to school where his classmates had been following the ongoing drama. His father shared a single photo of Leo back at his coding club, working on a new project, notably not an underwater drone. The post's caption simply read, "Moving forward, wiser and grateful." The fallout from Sterling's press conference continued to grow as professional safety organizations began weighing in. The American Lifeguard Association released a statement distancing themselves from his demonstration and praising the original rescue response at Azure Bay Resort. Their expert analysis of both incidents became another viral piece of content. Maya Patel's coverage of the press conference disaster earned her several Journalism Awards nominations. Her ability to maintain professional objectivity while clearly documenting the events set a new standard for social media reporting. Sometimes, she reflected in a viral post, the truth is so clear that it doesn't need any editorial enhancement. Sterling's social media presence, once dominating and confident, began to show signs of strain. His posts became less frequent and more carefully worded, but the damage had been done. Every new attempt to justify his actions was met with clips from his failed demonstration, creating an endless cycle of embarrassing reminders. The Azure Bay Resort, meanwhile, saw an unexpected surge in bookings. Rafael Morales' team maintained their professional stance, neither capitalizing on Sterling's misfortune nor engaging in the ongoing social media frenzy. Their quiet competence spoke volumes. Victoria Zhang's security team compiled a comprehensive comparison of safety protocols between the Azure Bay Resort and Sterling's hotels, which was leaked to several investigative journalists. The resulting exposés raised serious questions about Sterling's claims of superior safety standards. Dr. Wilson's medical team used the heightened public interest to launch a water safety awareness campaign. Their educational content, featuring actual emergency response procedures and safety tips, gained significant traction online. This is how you turn a crisis into an opportunity for public education, noted several public health experts. As the third day of the controversy drew to a close, Sterling's press conference had achieved something remarkable. It had united social media users across the political spectrum in collective disbelief at his handling of the situation. The incident became a case study in how not to manage a public relations crisis. The contrast between Sterling's bombastic approach and Statham's quiet professionalism had created a perfect storm of public opinion. As one viral tweet observed, "One man jumped in to save a life, the other jumped in to save his ego, and we all saw how that turned out." Benjamin Carter, Sterling's former social media manager, would later write a revealing article about the behind-the-scenes chaos leading up to the press conference. His account of attempting to prevent the disaster would become required reading in public relations courses. The day ended with a simple update from Alexander Pierce, a photo of Leo at dinner with his family, including a special guest, Jason Statham, who had accepted a quiet, private invitation to meet the boy he'd saved. The image, taken not for publicity but leaked by a restaurant patron, showed genuine smiles and no posturing. It would become the most liked post of the entire controversy, marking a turning point in the ongoing narrative. The aftermath of Sterling's press conference disaster entered its fourth day with an unexpected development that would finally bring the social media storm to a decisive end. Jason Statham, who had maintained his silence throughout the controversy, chose to make his first and only public statement about the incident. His timing and approach would prove to be as impeccable as his rescue. The action star's message appeared simultaneously across all his social media platforms, accompanied by a single photo taken moments after the rescue, not of himself, but of the Azure Bay Resort's entire safety team, including Claire Sullivan, Victoria Zhang, and Dr. Samantha Wilson. His words would become the most shared content of the entire controversy. A real hero isn't someone who takes credit, it's the lifeguard who trains every day for emergencies, the security team that maintains constant vigilance, and the medical professionals who stand ready to help, Statham wrote. "I was just fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. The real credit belongs to these professionals who make safety their life's work." The post hit the internet like a tsunami, garnering millions of likes and shares within hours. Its impact was immediately apparent. Sterling's continued attempts to control the narrative suddenly seemed not just misguided, but completely out of touch with public sentiment. Alexander Pierce quickly amplified Statham's message, adding his own perspective. "This is what genuine character looks like. No press conferences, no demonstrations, no political agendas, just truth and respect for the real professionals who keep us safe every day." His post included the announcement of a substantial donation to fund lifeguard training programs across the country. The Azure Bay Resort safety team, now unexpectedly in the spotlight, handled their moment of recognition with characteristic professionalism. Claire Sullivan, the lifeguard who had been dealing with another emergency during the incident, used the attention to highlight the importance of having multiple trained professionals on duty at all times. "What happened that day showed why we never work alone," Sullivan explained in a widely shared interview. "When I was handling the heat exhaustion case, another emergency occurred. If Mr. Statham hadn't been there, our backup protocols would have activated, but his immediate response made a critical difference in those first seconds." Victoria Zhang's security team released their final report on the incident, which included a detailed timeline of events and recommendations for improving pool safety industry-wide. The document quickly became a reference point for safety professionals and was adopted by several major hotel chains, notably, none of them owned by Sterling. Maya Patel, whose coverage had helped shape the public's understanding of events, produced a comprehensive documentary-style video that chronicled the entire controversy. Her balanced reporting and attention to detail earned her a prestigious journalism fellowship and established her as a serious investigative journalist rather than just a social media influencer. Meanwhile, Sterling's empire began showing cracks. Several board members of his hotel chain called for an emergency meeting to discuss the public relations disaster and its impact on their brand. Benjamin Carter, his former social media manager, had become a sought-after speaker on crisis management, specifically, how to prevent the kind of mistakes he'd witnessed. The professional consequences for Sterling continued to mount. Bookings at his hotels dropped significantly, while the Azure Bay Resort saw its reputation soar. Rafael Morales's management team began receiving requests from other luxury hotels to consult on their safety protocols, turning a potential crisis into an opportunity for industry leadership. Dr. Wilson's water safety awareness campaign, launched in the wake of the controversy, gained significant traction. She partnered with Alexander Pierce's new foundation to develop advanced training programs for emergency responders. Sometimes, she noted, it takes a high-profile incident to create positive change in safety protocols. Leo Pierce, the young boy whose accident had triggered the entire sequence of events, made his own small but significant contribution to the story. With his father's permission, he appeared in a child water safety video, demonstrating proper pool behavior and the importance of following safety rules. His natural charm and obvious recovery helped provide closure to the public narrative. Thomas Anderson, whose #RealHeroesNoCredit had gone viral, organized a fundraiser for local lifeguard training programs. The campaign exceeded its goals within hours, with matching donations from both Pierce's foundation and, surprisingly, several of Sterling's former business partners. The contrast between Sterling's approach and Statham's continued to resonate across social media. Educational institutions began using the case as a study in crisis management and public relations. The key lesson, as one viral post noted, was simple: actions speak louder than tweets. Sterling's final attempt to salvage the situation came in the form of a carefully worded apology, clearly crafted by his new crisis management team. However, the public's attention had already shifted to the positive developments emerging from the controversy, the improved safety protocols, the educational initiatives, and the genuine cooperation between professionals and celebrities. Jason Statham's involvement in the story concluded with a private swimming safety demonstration for children at a local community center. No press was invited, but the parents' social media posts about his patient, humble interaction with the kids provided a fitting epilogue to his role in the events. Alexander Pierce's technology company, inspired by the incident, accelerated development of new pool safety monitoring systems. The project, led by a team that included input from Victoria Zhang and other safety professionals, promised to revolutionize how aquatic facilities prevent and respond to emergencies. The Azure Bay Resort's handling of the entire situation became a template for crisis management in the hospitality industry. Rafael Morales was invited to speak at several international hotel management conferences, sharing insights about maintaining professionalism and integrity during public controversies. Claire Sullivan received recognition from the American Lifeguard Association for her honest handling of the incident and her role in promoting professional safety standards. Her experience became part of the training curriculum for new lifeguards, emphasizing the importance of teamwork and emergency preparedness. Maya Patel's final piece on the controversy focused not on the social media battle or Sterling's missteps, but on the lasting positive changes that had emerged from the incident. Her documentation of improved safety protocols, increased funding for training programs, and enhanced public awareness demonstrated how a potential tragedy had led to meaningful reform. Detective Jack Cooper's final report included recommendations for standardizing emergency response protocols across all luxury hotels. His findings, combined with Victoria Zhang's security analysis, contributed to new industry-wide safety guidelines that would help prevent similar incidents in the future. The story's conclusion was marked not by any single dramatic event, but by a gradual shift toward constructive change. Sterling's social media presence faded into relative obscurity, while the real work of improving pool safety continued quietly but effectively under the guidance of actual professionals. A year after the incident, Leo Pierce competed in his first junior swimming competition. Among the spectators were Jason Statham, Claire Sullivan, and the Azure Bay Resort safety team, all there without fanfare or publicity. The photo of their small celebration, shared by a parent, went viral for all the right reasons. Alexander Pierce's foundation announced its first annual awards for excellence in water safety, with categories recognizing both professional lifeguards and ordinary citizens who had performed emergency rescues. Jason Statham agreed to serve on the selection committee, though he recused himself from accepting any recognition. The lasting impact of the controversy proved to be not in the social media battles or political posturing, but in the genuine improvements to public safety that emerged from it. As one final viral post observed, real change doesn't come from claiming credit. It comes from people willing to do the right thing, even when no one is watching. The story ended as it began, with a focus on the true meaning of heroism and the importance of professional dedication to safety. Sterling's attempt to hijack the narrative had ultimately served only to highlight the contrast between genuine heroism and self-promotion, leaving a legacy that would influence public discourse and safety protocols for years to come.